Around a year ago, I created and published a Roblox game, and at the time, I didn't really expect much from it. But since then, my videos about the game have blown up, along with my Roblox bank account. But the game had a little bit of an issue.
Be happy, you better explain why you use
Yeah, so I sort of didn't know how to script a game properly.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Instead of fixing the game, I just called the bugs features and focused on making the map look cooler. Since my first attempt was such a failure, we're going to be trying to remake this game with hopefully less bugs and better balancing. I still suck at scripting though, so we'll see. Alright, so we're gonna have to start off our new game by scripting a better button system. If you don't know what a button simulator is, it's basically a game where you try to get as much cash as possible by purchasing all sorts of different multipliers that multiply the multipliers that multiply your cash.
What?
So I was gonna start scripting the system, but then I realized that I have a partner who knows how to script, so I kindly asked him to make the system because I'm lazy and don't know how to script something that actually works. Alright, so we've got this basic setup where the buttons turn green whenever you can afford them, which will be changed later into more satisfying stuff like particles and glowing parts. We've also got this egg over here because we're gonna be trying to implement pets into this game. Aren't we so unique? On a real note though, I actually haven't seen them used in button simulators, so I guess we are actually ending up being special with this. But I was just testing the game for a bit, and I think the pets are a little broken at the moment because I just beat the game instantly once I equipped a few of them. That'll be a problem for future me though. So now that the basic system is complete, it's time to build a beautiful map for all of the buttons to sit on. Alright guys, so I definitely did not forget to record for the last 20 minutes, but we do have this nice simple layout going, and I'm going to do a bunch of detailing on this path, so let's do a little time lapse. Alright guys, I'm not gonna lie, that was really tedious, but I think that it turned out pretty cool. Let me know if you think that it was worth the effort. I'm really not sure. Now we just gotta go ahead and place the buttons along this path, and with that complete, the game is finished, and I'm gonna go do some studying for finals now. Thanks for watching. Alright, I decided studying is boring and this game is more important than my grades, so I'm gonna add some explosions to the game to make the buttons super satisfying to step on. We got an issue though because I don't really know how to make any explosions, but right when I was about to give up, I remembered that I have this obby pack on Shop D Happy with really cool explosion effects whenever you reach a new stage in the obby. Control C, Control V, subscribe to D Happy. Now whenever you step on the button, it plays the same animation from the obby. Next up, I went ahead and added a tween so that there's this white part that grows out and slowly turns invisible to add an extra glow effect to the button. And once I added that, we started experiencing a bunch of bugs. For some reason, the effect only works like half the time and the buttons are acting super weird. Now old me would have left this and just called it a feature, but I'm a changed man now. I won't let a stupid bug stop me from making a successful game. I need to prove to myself that I can fix a bug. It took me an hour to fix it. I want to jump off a Roblox bridge. So now the buttons are running a lot more smooth and it's looking pretty satisfying compared to what it was before. Next up, I want to change the sound of the buttons because, well, the sound kind of sucks and it's hurting my ears. Alright, I think this is the best we're going to be able to find. Okay, so now we've got the sound and visual aspect of the button system complete, and we'll probably mess around with it more in the future, but this is good for now. This is just a little heads up to prepare to be very cringed. Hey you! Yeah you. My name's D Helpy, and I want to help you make a game. You see this game? It's all yours, bro. This tycoon, you can have that too. How about this obby, or this UI, or this button simulator that you're literally watching me make? Our game templates are fully scripted and ready to be published within minutes after downloading. If you're interested, go to shopdhappy.com or click the first link in the description. I'll see you there. Alright, now let's put our focus on this map because I just realized how tiny it currently is. For reference, this was the size of my old map. So I think this elevated area is actually kind of a weird spot to put the buttons. So I'm gonna make this a leaderboard area where people can see how well they're performing compared to other players. And we'll just move the buttons somewhere else for now. Alright, this is looking decent, but I still want the leaderboard area to stick out more from the rest of the map. And I couldn't think of anything unique because I'm already brain dead from this project, so I just decided to make a giant cave. I started off by making all of the ground parts into a union and then changing the color of the parts to a dark gray for the stone ground. After this, I placed a few rocks around the leaderboards to help make the transition into the cave feel more natural. Starting on the actual cave, I made this big arc over the entrance so that I can get an idea for the size of the cave. Then after that, it was just a matter of going around and filling in all of the open spaces with more rocks. And for some finishing touches, I added in some smaller assets from one of my old mining simulator projects, like these crystals and these crates. And just like that, we've got this nice looking cave finished. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. While I was working on the cave, Qubit was working on adding in our UI that I made a few videos ago, and he's been getting it all working with the new button simulator system. We only really need 3 tabs for now, but we'll probably add more stuff like an index and quests in the future. Alright, while Qubit keeps working on the scripting side of stuff, let's go ahead and expand the map. I kinda got distracted with the whole cave thing. I started off by moving all of the border parts out of the way and then making this giant loop using my favorite plugin, Archimedes. I still don't know if I'm saying that right. So I'm thinking that we should have the buttons start over here on the left side of the loop, similar to how we had it in the last version of the game. My friend must have been working without me realizing because now the cave is completely different and it actually looks insane. I love the idea of the crown on the top to help show that it's the leaderboards area. Continuing on the map, I decided to fill in this big open space in the middle using some of the border models, and then I added this golden part on the top where players can farm this special button. I'm not sure what this button will give you yet, but I figured we could add some other currencies to the game to change up the gameplay a bit. And finally, to help it all fit in better with the map, I added some trees and logs along with some other small details. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So we've got a pretty good start to this project, but we still have a lot of work to do. I'm going to take a break from expanding the map for now though and start working on some of the button variants. I want each new stat you unlock to feel like a big accomplishment. So we're going to make a unique model for each button so that as you progress through the game, they get more epic. After about 10 minutes, I came up with these skins, and they're looking pretty clean in my opinion. I asked people what their ideas were in the Discord server, and it was no help per usual. Speaking of Discord servers, I'm hosting a 15k Robux giveaway right now, so I recommend joining if you haven't yet. You could also be in one of my future videos if you're lucky. Alright, so now that we have the different button models finished, let's go back to expanding this map. If you look at my old map, you may have noticed that instead of having portals leading to new worlds like most games, we just have one mega map where you can literally walk from one area to the next. I thought this really helped separate my game from others, so we're going to try and take a similar approach to this map. I started off by adding in 2 different elevations for 2 additional areas of the map that the player will be able to access. I think we're going to have the first 2 areas be a desert and a snowland. To help separate the areas from each other, I took these pillars from my Pet Simulator 99 video and placed them as dividers wherever the different areas met. I decided to change this first area to a forest because I wanted to save the desert for a later area in the game. I also already had these really cool forest tree models that I haven't been able to use yet, so I thought I would use them in this game. The forest area was honestly pretty easy to make because there's not much more to a forest than just a bunch of big trees and rocks. So that's exactly what I did. I also added a sign by the entrance of the area to show what new stats can be found within the forest. And just like that, the forest zone is complete. For the snow zone, I decided to use this giant snowman model, which required me to change the path a bunch so that it would actually fit because the snowman is so fat. After this, I added in snowy trees, icicles, and some trees with no leaves. I'm pretty happy with how the snow area turned out, but it hurts my eyes if I look at it for too long because everything is just covered in white. If you have any ideas on how I could add some more color variety to this zone, let me know in the comments. While I was doing all of the work on this map, Qubit was cooking up some new features to the button system. First off, we added a stats display above the player's head, which looked kinda goofy, but Qubit thinks he knows how to fix it. We also added this cool new feature where buttons have a chance of becoming shiny and giving double its normal amount. I thought this would be fun to add so that there's a luck aspect to the game. It's also a cool feature that I haven't seen implemented into other games, and I'm trying to stick out with this one. One last feature Qubit worked on was a little obby system so that we can make an obby for each of the areas within the map. For now, the obbies are really small, but in the future, we'll make them bigger when it comes to actually releasing the game. Alright, so it's been a bit since my last update, and you may notice this new potion icon on the left here, because we added some potions to the game. These potions will give temporary boosts, which are a great way to get in some extra Robux through developer products. If you don't know the difference between game passes and developer products, basically you can purchase a dev product an infinite amount of times, which means that I can make infinite Robux. But the potions aren't even the biggest change we've made, because now we have this whole quest system that Cubit spent all day making. Now when you join, there's a little me who assigns people to complete simple quests for rewards like potions, cash, and pets. The UI is a little sketchy right now, but we're just worried about getting all of the systems working at this time. Now that we have all of the main gameplay complete, it's time to start figuring out the placement of everything, because this map is sort of a mess right now. I just couldn't figure out a way to make it not feel super crammed, so it ended up taking ages for me to find a good arrangement of everything. I ended up expanding the map just a little bit to give the player some extra room to run around. With the main points of interest in place, I began to add all of the buttons around the map, which is pretty tedious, but also kind of satisfying at the same time. While placing out the buttons, I felt like there still wasn't really enough content, so I decided to add yet another world to make the game even harder to beat. So I brought back the desert area that we were planning on adding earlier in the video. And what better way to make a desert area than by adding a giant pyramid in the middle of everything? If you guys have any world ideas for future updates, let me know, because I'll be adding in so many more in the future updates. After finishing up the builds for the desert, I placed all of the buttons around, and now we're done with the buttons. The last thing we need to do is the obbies. So for the noob obby, I went for a pretty simple build with bright noob themed colors, and it looks pretty trash, but that was definitely on purpose. For the forest obby, I spammed a bunch of trees and border parts around the obby, because that's all the forest really needs. And then finally for the ice obby, I spammed snowy border parts along with some icicles, and I used a snowman's head as part of the obby. With all of the builds in the game complete, I just had to go and finish up the game passes and dev products, which took a long time. It's really not that much fun, but the game is finished, and we're gonna go ahead and release it to my Discord server for testing. If you want early access to my games in the future, be sure to join the Discord. Anyways, let's go ahead and see how people are enjoying the game. Okay, bro, I announced the game in my Discord just a few minutes ago, and this is pure chaos. The server's nearly full, and you basically can't tell a single thing that's happening because everyone is on the same buttons. The server button presses are also increasing super fast, which is actually pretty fun to watch. Anyways, we got a bunch of good feedback from all of the testers, which is super helpful so that the game isn't bad when we do an actual public launch. Now, Cubit and I just have to spend the next week fixing everything and polishing the game for release. So I'll talk to you then. Alright guys, it has been around a week and this game is basically ready for release. As you can see, we have a clean logo now, and we added in some settings to hide other players so that you can see what's happening. We also did a bunch of balancing so that the game takes longer to beat and is less broken. As you're watching this video right now, the game is public, so if you want to play it yourself, go ahead and click the link in the description. Be sure to let me know what you guys think we should add in the next update. Also, be sure to subscribe so we can hit 50k. Thanks for watching. See you guys.